D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So I just finished The Last of Us, episode 7. And I want to say it's not that I didn't like this episode, but I have to be honest, I'm a little annoyed with this show at this point in time because and I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna be all like, "Oh, you don't like character development," and that's not true. I love character development, but I'm telling you right now, they are just developing these characters left and right, and I'm all like, "Why don't we see them do something? How about that?" Okay, because I'm like, I've just had enough of this nonsense where there's no action. I mean, there's a tiny, 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 tiny bit of action, and so I someone that follows me on Twitter and on here, David, he pointed out that he had said that maybe HBO was had sold this show as basically a Walking Dead 2.0 in their trailers. And I agree with that 100% because that's what I was thinking. I thought this would be like, because they sold it with that the clackers in the first one with the head things and which still make me itch. The clacker in this one, or it's not a clacker. I looked it up because I looked up the different versions. This one's called a runner because the clackers or clickers are the only ones that have that. They're blind and they have the thing. The ones that can see still, those are runners. And then there's the stalkers and then the bloaters. And then I think there's another one. I can't remember. I think there's 5. Did I say 5? It doesn't matter. So this one, we got to see all about Ellie's past and everything. We got to meet Riley, and we'll talk about that when we get to it, because this episode was really just Riley's episode, basically, because she's not coming back, guys. And if she does, I don't know how, but it was played by Storm Reed, and I have to tell you right now, I'm a very big fan of Storm Reed. She is a fantastic actress. I don't think she gets enough work. I enjoyed her in this episode. I enjoyed her more than Bella, what is her last name? Ellie, the Ellie actress, Bella Ramsey. I enjoyed her better than Bella Ramsey, although Bella Ramsey did a good job this episode too. Who did a very minimal job? Pedro Pascal, because he was in it for like 2 minutes tops. So, but this episode was I don't know. It wasn't bad, but I'm getting annoyed. I'm like, it's just the last, 2 episodes left. I'm not joking. I want to see action. And it doesn't have to be with the clackers. Can they fight some people maybe and not just one little stabby stab and then we're done? I've just had enough of no action. Like, it's like, come on, I'm staying up. I got to get up really early with my kids. I'm staying up for this nonsense. It's like, this isn't memoirs of the teen lesbians. It's freaking, The Last of Us. So I want to see some gameplay here, people. Come on. But in saying that, I'm going to get into this breakdown, and I want to say that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is seriously changing up their algorithm, you guys, and small channels like mine, especially mine, we're feeling the heat of it, and we always get shoved to the back of the line. So I please that you ask, oh gosh, I ask that you, sorry, I'm tired. Please ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. All right, so now that I got that business out of the way, why don't we go ahead and get started on this episode? So it starts off with this little neighborhood, and it's covered in snow. Now, for a small piece of me was like, oh, maybe this is before the infection started, and we'll see a little bit from the past. But I was wrong when I saw this trail of blood. So there's the horse. It's in the garage. Good job. And she's trying to fix up Joel, okay? And he's breathing, shallowly, and he's all like, go, run, go to Tommy and everything. And he's basically just saying, like, leave me, just let me die. And I'm all like, oh, that's so sad. But I mean, I probably would have done the same thing if it was like my kid and everything. I know this isn't his kid, but it's kind of it's his kid now. She's his kid. Like he's taken her on. And so she covers him up and she gives him the look, and then she goes up the stairs and she opens up the door. And then we get this flashback. You guys, okay, so first off, it goes on this Walkman. Now I'm old. And I remember Walkmans, and I'm sorry for all you youngsters out there, Walkmans were awesome. They never skipped like CD players did, the Walkman with the CD players. And remember when you would wear them on your hand? Do you guys remember that? You youngsters don't remember. But Walkmans were awesome. I had mine. I had the best headphones. They were the ones that stuck into your ears and everything, and they were yellow. Oh, and my Walkman was yellow. It was so good. It was like the sport one of it. I think this one's by Sony, right? I think it was Sony did it. Oh, it was so awesome. So anyway, so she's listening to a Walkman, and I can't remember the song she's listening to, but I remember the song later on. I'm going to talk to you about it. So she's running, she's going around in circles, and then Beth comes up behind her and takes her headphones off. And I was like, oh, Beth, you done messed up, honey. You done messed up with your ugly face. And she's like, give him back. And she's like, pick up the pace, because I'm not gonna do extra laps because you want to, screw around. And she's all like, come on, man, I don't want to fight. And she's like, oh, fight? You don't fight. You know who fights. And she's not coming back, is she? And so then she hits her, and she's sitting here, and she got a good knock. So she looks at this picture of these two ladies. Obviously, this is Commander Kwan's wife and daughter, or maybe both his daughters. I'm not quite sure. So he sits down. Kwong, sorry, I said it wrong. And he says that something about like how Bethany is in the infirmary and getting 15 stitches, and she's like, good. But Bethany looked, she got a good right hook in there, equal rights, equal lefts, you know what I'm saying? And Bethany does not discriminate, you know what I'm saying? Her fists do not discriminate, hold on, I need just some water. Apologies, I'm only drinking water right now. I have a kidney infection and I am in pain, so I'm going to take it out on this episode. So he's sitting down, and he says to her, she's like, just put me in the hole. And he's like, I'm not going to put you in the hole. It doesn't help. It doesn't do anything. He's like, but I'm going to tell you this. And this was good advice. I had somebody one time give me, not this exact advice, but they gave me advice like this. And they told me the two options and everything. They also told me a quote that I'll never forget. They said, life is a series of choices. Some have consequences and some have rewards. Which one do you want? And I was like, ugh. Rewards. So he says, these are your two options, and grabs the coffee mug. He's like, now you can be a soldier. You can go out there, eat crap food, walk the wall, do your thing, and die from either a firefly, yourself, or you fall off a building or something like that, something stupid or whatnot. Or there's this other path, and he puts down the keys, and he says, you could be an officer. And he said if you pick the cup one, he's like, you'll probably have to take orders from your crappy captain or leader, which it will probably be Beth. He's like, or you can be an officer where you eat the best foods. You don't have to go outside. You're warm in the winter. You're cool in the summer, and you're probably going to tell the Beths of the world to what they have to do. And he's like, which one are you going to pick? And she's like, the keys. He's like, good. And then, and then he says along the lines of, he's like, you could be a leader. He tells her, you could be a leader. He's like, contrary to popular belief, we are holding this place together. And a small piece of me wonders, is that true? I understand, like, I don't know, because like, obviously we're not in this situation. But it's like, when you get to this situation, would you be on the side of the government and be all like, hey, they're it's crappy everywhere, so they're just doing the best they can? Or would you be like, what was it, Kansas City, where they just took that place over because they were like, no, they suck. So it's very interesting, like the two dynamics of the whole thing. And you get Ellie here, who's thinking maybe it could be good, and part of Fedra. So then she asks if she can have her Walkman back, and he gives it back. And I was like, that's nice. So she's sitting here in her room. No pun intended, volume 1 right there. And she's reading that comic book that she read from before. And she sees her friend. This is Riley's bunk, which is obviously her room. Now, I thought Riley had died right off the bat, and they were going to show how she died. But no, we'll see that later, kind of. So she goes to sleep, and then somebody comes in. Now, what I also thought this was Beth at the beginning. Now, I haven't seen the game, so I didn't know any of this stuff. Me and my wife were watching it, and the whole time I'm like, I'm pretty sure she dies. I'm like, I knew Riley was coming, and I knew that they were like, sorry, I hurt myself. I knew that they were like in love or whatever, but I don't know anything about the game in this, which I also have to say, like, this seems like, I don't know, like, I don't know. Anyway, sorry. I was going to go on a tangent. So she puts her hand over her mouth and tries to, pull a code red on her or whatnot, or pretend code red. And she attacks her when she's got the knife. And she's like, what are you doing? She's like, I thought it would be funny and you'd get a kick at it. Obviously, I was wrong. She's like, where have you been? She's like, I joined the Fireflies. And she's like, are you serious? And she's all like, yeah. And then she's like, I'm going to tell you to come with me. You're going to say no. And then you're going to think about it. And then you're going to come with me. So just come with me. And she's like, no. And she's like, and then she's like, all right. So then they go out the window and they're sneaking around. And she's like, how'd you get, they go in here. And she's all like, Firefly has better equipment. And she's like, we're only going up two flights of stairs. And she's like, and they get to the 7, she's like, to my ace. So they get there and they see this dead guy. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, as soon as I saw this dead guy, I was like, clacker, let's do this. But it's not a clicker or an infected. He's just dead. He's a dead dude. I was like, oh, this is a bummer. I was expecting some fun right off the bat, and it's not. So they go up to him and she's like, he wasn't here the other 2 days ago. And they're checking him out, and she's like, so they grab the alcohol, and she's like, he must have spent all of his money on this one bottle. And she's like, yeah, did anybody tell him you can't take it with pills? And then all of a sudden, hold on, I want to play it for you. I hope I don't get in trouble. So they're sitting here, and then all of a sudden, the floor collapses, and he just goes. And I was like, when that happened, though, I thought he was going to start clicking, when everything didn't happen. I was like, this is no fun. So then they're all like, so they get up to the roof. They drink and she's like, oh, it's disgusting. And she's like, you try it. And she's like, and Bella Ramsey did a good job here because she's like, it's delicious. And I'm like, good for you. Cause me, like, I'll tell you right now, the first time I tried alcohol was a fuzzy navel. It was so freaking delicious, but those fruity drinks are delicious. Yeah. My mom had it and everything. Of course, the woman did. But the first time I tasted whiskey for the first time, I was just like, bleh. I was like, how do you drink that stuff? Now it's just like, second nature. So she asked her about joining the Fireflies, and she said how she was sneaking around the city one night. And I think it was the woman from the first episodes that sent Joel on his mission. But she's all like, she saw me sneaking around. She said, I like how you sneak around. You want to join the Fireflies? And then she's like, good. And she's like, no initiation. She's like, nope. She's like, let me see your gun. And so she lets her see her gun and everything. And then they start hopping. She's like, come on, let's go this way. Let's check stuff out. Now, at this point in time, I thought that they were already like girlfriends, like they were like, sucking face and everything. And no, they're not. I was like, oh, I didn't know that and everything. That's, I have to admit, I'm usually like a spoilery person and I like spoilers, but I kind of did like not knowing. I like with this whole show, I like kind of like not knowing, because then when it happens, if I'm really disappointed, I'm like, well, that sucks. And then if I like it, I'm all like, well, that was awesome kind of thing. But I'm still going to find out spoilers. I'm that kind of girl. I used to sneak up. God, I keep going on these tangents, and I don't know if you guys like these stupid stories that I tell, but I remember one year, me and my brother, we bought this tape that was like non-stick tape. Like it would stick for a couple of hours and then it would not stick. And we gave it to my mom for Christmas presents because we really wanted to know what we were getting for Christmas. Because that was the year Power Rangers came out and it was like a big thing. And I was like in the 4th grade or something like that. Long story short, it would untape and we'd go and check out what our presents were. So I was like, yes, this is awesome. So yeah, so that's my story. Anyways, I'm a spoiler kind of girl. Anyway, so they start hopping from the rooftop, and they're just so nonchalantly about it with you guys. So they're just like, hey, just like running through a field of daisies, but on a rooftops. And I'm like, oh, this is so like not safe. You wouldn't catch me doing that. So she talks about how they lit up a portion of the city. I'm trying to get a good screenshot of it. They lit up a portion of the city because they're like, more people, more apartments, yada, yada, yada. So they added it to the light grid. So then she's like, so we're going in there. She's like, the mall. She's like, they've quarantined that place because of all the infected. And she's like, if it's blocked off, then why isn't it blocked off? And it's so basically saying Fedra lied. There's no infected in there. And there's at least one. So they go in. And she's all like, it was hooked up with the power grid, so was this place. She's like, go down to the end of the hallway, or turn right, go down to the doors, open up the doors, and wait for me. So she So she goes and she turns on the lights, and it's a mall. And Riley's and Ellie has never seen a mall before. And I was like, that's so, I keep forgetting that it's been 20 years and this girl is what 16? And I keep forgetting that because it's so I wouldn't even know how to like if my kids did not know about this stuff, I wouldn't know how to explain it to them, you know? And when they saw like, and if you have kids, you experience stuff for the first time through their eyes. Have kids, it's like the best. But yeah, so okay, so she's they're just like, oh, and she's like, oh crap. So she's like, I'm gonna show you the 4 wonders of the mall. And she's like moving stairs. She's like, or it's called an escalator. And she's like, oh, is this one of the wonders? And she's like, okay, so there's 5 wonders of the mall. And she sold this escalator thing. By the way, I don't use escalators. I've seen way too many videos of people like falling to their deaths throughout, or they like get shredded, or like you know the sides, they put those yellow things on because it will like snap your leg in half. And I'm like, escalators are the devil. I'm never going to on an escalator. I'll take the stairs, which is what escalators are, just moving. So she's super happy about that. So they're walking, and then there was this movie. I looked up this movie that was, hold on, it was on this poster just now. I missed it, man. There, Dawn of the Wolf Part 2. I don't think this is a real movie because I typed it in and I couldn't find anything like on IMDb. So it's not, so I think they just made it up, which is fine. I wonder if that pun, I should look up that pun book if that's a real, I wonder what happened in Part 1 of Dawn of the Wolf. That's fun. So she asks her about like, why are some of these stores empty and some of these stores are not? And she said, my mom told me that when the infection first happened, looters came in here and were stealing the stuff that they really needed, and they left behind the stuff that they really didn't. And that's why the stores that have, and she's like, oh, so they'd steal tennis shoes, but they wouldn't steal that. And then she puts over to Victoria's Secret. I'm like, well, you know, I mean, a woman could steal that and, you know, get some suitors for some dollar bills in the future, you know. And so she's all like, I don't know why anybody, not Ellie, Riley's like, I don't know why anybody would want to wear that. Like, it just looks uncomfortable. And Ellie's all like, well, you want me to tell you why you would wear it? And she's like, I know why. And it's to turn your lover on. Stop it, Riley. Don't be naive. You know why. And I love how she was checking herself, like, I like fixing her stuff, because it was this episode. Okay, I take it back. Maybe this episode was a cute meet cute, but I'm at the same time, I'm all like, we saw it with Bill and Frank. And then, you know, I'm just like, I'm tired of these like episodes where it's like, what is that called? Like, not a novelette, where it's like a short story, but inside a story. What's that called? Anyways, it doesn't matter. So, so she's like, hold on. So she takes her in here, over through here, and it's a carousel. So they get on the carousel and they're giving each other like, I want to fuck you eyes, which is super cute. Like, this is super cute. I want to admit, this is a good first date. Riley did good for her first date. It's not a dinner and a movie for her. It's alcohol and carousels. So she's like, what's the next wonder of the mall? I don't know what she says here that she's so sad. I can't remember what they talk about. They do talk about how she lost her parents. Yeah, that's all I can remember. I can't remember. There's a part that's later on that's sad, but I don't remember what they talk about here. I apologize. Please don't be mad at me. Yeah. Oh, and she's all like, I have to go. Oh, she talks about coming back, and this whole time she's trying to sway her to come back to Fedra and their like academy or whatever. And I remember what they talk about now. And she's like, I'm not coming back. And she's like, but you could be a leader. And she's like, you could. She's like, Quan, he's like, I turned 17, and I leave the academy and I go into service, and he put me on sewage duty. She's like, oh man. She's like, yeah, so I get to see people shovel crap all day. And so she's like, I'm staying with the Fireflies. She's like, you gonna miss me? And she's like, no. And she's like, and then she's like, just a little bit. And I'm like, they're super cute. Okay. So they go into this photo booth, which I just want to say also, me and my wife, photo booths were our jam before we got married and everything. Now we have kids, so it's like I don't even notice photo booths anymore, which is a bummer. But so they go in here, She's like, please enter $5. And she's like, luckily I have $5. I'm like, oh, I wonder where she found the 5 from. So they do all these cute pictures and it pops out. And she's like, I like that one. She's like, if you like it so much, you can keep it. And I was like, that's nice. So then they're walking. She's like, hold up. And so she brings her to Raja's arcade. And I was like, oh, this is where it's going to happen. The clackers. It has to happen. The clackers have to happen. So they're sitting here and they're playing all these. She's like, we need coins. And so she's all like, pops open the coins and they get the coins out. So they start playing Mortal Kombat. And you remember from episodes before when she was all like, she's like, yeah, there's this. And which makes me go like, was she just playing like she didn't know what Mortal Kombat was? Or, because sorry, I have a hangout. She had to have known there was about Mortal Kombat. I don't know. It doesn't matter. This was cute. So they play and she's Katana. And maybe she wasn't able. Oh, no, she's Melina. That's how she knows. That's how she knew. Okay. Makes sense now. Everything makes sense now. So while they're sitting here playing, and she gives her the eyes, like the whole time, like the look, like look at that. Look at that. I don't understand why these two didn't just start making out before this. So then it pans over, and then we go down this hallway. We go into this little doll shop, which is super creepy. Dolls are creepy. I do not like dolls. And we see an infected, but he's all in the wall. So yeah, so he's like, and he comes alive. He's like, and I'm like, oh man. So then they're sitting here playing some more. And she's teaching everything. And then they go and she's like, I have one more thing. I have something to show you. And she's like, tacos? She's like we're going to have tacos in the apocalypse. And she's like, this is where you've been staying. She's like, yep. And she's like, I have a gift for you. And she shows her the gift and it's boom. No pun intended, volume 2. And so they start doing their puns. They start saying puns. And one of them was like, what? Oh gosh. How would you save the life of a computer or something like that? And it's like a screensaver. And they didn't get it because they don't have computers in this time. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, I got it. I thought it was funny. And then she notices this. She goes over there and looks, and it's a bunch of bombs. Oh, because before they talk about how the Fireflies blow stuff up, and she's like, now when there's civilians in there, and she's like, you're drinking the Kool-Aid, huh? And again, I go back to this whole thing where you can believe, you believe whatever side you want to be on, that's what you believe until you have your mind changed, and then you go over to the other side. And it's just sometimes it's just you gotta just like see stuff before you can come to a conclusion. Yeah. And Riley's come to that conclusion. Maybe it's just because she doesn't want to shovel crap all day or whatnot. So she's like, so she tells her, she's like, I'm leaving. She goes, I'm leaving tomorrow. She tells her she's leaving the city. She's like, the Fireflies are sending her somewhere. I can't remember where. We'll say Kansas City. I can't remember. And so she's like, I just want to spend this time with you, kind of thing. And she's like, I wanted to say goodbye. And she's like, well, you already did or whatnot. So she walks away. And then she hears some screaming. And so she runs back. She's like, oh my God. She's like, Riley, and everything. And it's this little Halloween thing. And she's like, this was the last number 4. This was the last thing. So they're sitting here talking. And I can't remember what they say here now. I'm sorry, you guys. I didn't write it down. I just watched it and then I came in here to record. Because I got to get to bed. I got too much to do tomorrow that I can't record it tomorrow. So I wanted to get it done tonight. So she's all like, she grabs her Walkman and she gives her a mask. And then they start dancing. Okay. Oh, I forgot to mention the songs. Okay. So when she was going down the escalator, they played Aha. Take on me, which is my favorite 80s song. I love that song so much. I love it. Like, I love that song. The music video is pretty good too, but I love that song. I can't get that high. So then they're dancing to I can't remember what song, but it was a different version of it. This clown mask, which I don't understand why they put the clown and the masks on. I don't know if that's a thing in the game, but it's really weird either way. Like if they didn't do it in the game, but they only did it for this, it's weird. And if they did it in the game, it's just weird also and if they didn't do it in the game and they did it here, the guy from the game, he said that they only changed stuff if it would heighten the story or whatever, I don't see how these masks heightened anything or gave it any more, panache or anything like that. It just, this mask creeped me out. I'm not even scared of clowns, but this mask is scary. So they're dancing and she's like, get up here and dance with me and everything. So they're dancing. And the whole time I'm just like, this clown is creepy. And so she stops. She takes off her mask. Look at how creepy that is. She's like, don't go. And she's like, okay. And then she kisses her. I was like, oh, look at you guys. You guys are cute. This episode still isn't that great. Although it's super cute. She's like, okay, I'll stay. And she's like, you will? So while they're standing here, they hear some ramblings going on. And she's like, get ready to run. And as soon as she does it, that infected guy comes out and starts running after him. And he tackles him. And this whole time, and she ends up, he comes after her and she stabs him in the thing. And I'm like, stab him in the face, because, I feel he's not going to die from that. So then she's trying to get away. Riley comes in to save her, and then she tackles him but stabs him in the head. And then they're sitting here, and she's like, oh my gosh, that was so crazy. It was so intense. And she's all like, and she looks at her and she's looking down at her arm. And she looks down and she's got the bite. And she's like, hold on. And she's like, no, and everything. And I'm like, that's how I would react. Although I'm curious if you saw the bite, like right off the bat, could you cut off your arm at the infected part or above the infected part and it didn't get into the rest of your system? Just a thought. I was just thinking about it. I saw it in a comic book, zombie comic book. I'm like, these are kind of like zombies, except it's a fungus. I'm just asking. I'm asking questions, okay? I don't know if they've thought of this in the game and it's happened. I'm just asking questions. And then she's like, she looks over and Riley has the bite too. And I'm all like, oh, that sucks. But at this point, they don't know that Ellie is immune. And I'm all like, oh, that's interesting. But not enough to save this episode. So then we go back to Pedro Pascal, Joel, and she's sitting here and she's like, no, this is not happening again. I'm not losing someone that I love again. So she starts looking around the house for anything that she can do help to save it. And we go back to her smashing this stuff. And Riley's all like, there's some more stuff over here if you want to break it. And I was like, Riley, still witty at the end. And she sits down and she's like, what do we do? And she's like, well, I look at it this way. We have options. Number one option, done. Easy fix. We're gone. It's easy. We're out. She's like, no, I don't want to do it that way. She's like, option number two. We sit here and we lose our mind. We only have like 2 hours, 2 days. So let's spend it together. And I was like, this is really sad. This was like their first date and their last date. and they're gonna die. That's sad, really sad. And then so they're holding hands and then they like hug. And it's really sad. By the way, Storm Reed, still love her. She's great. I really do love Storm Reed. She doesn't get enough work in my opinion, and they wasted her by only letting her do one episode. They should have had her do more episodes. I know they couldn't do that because she's Riley and everything, but I'm just saying she's a good actress. I'm not trying to take anything away from Bella Ramsey. She's doing a good job too, but I really like Storm Reed. I really like her. Okay. And so then we flash back to the future. And she's looking. I thought for a second that this was an EpiPen, but I see it's not. Or this was an EpiPen. But I see it's not. It's like an ice cream scooper or something, or a lemon squeezer. And so she sees some needle and thread. I think that's it right there. And so she sees some needle and thread. She picks it up and she runs down to the basement. And Joel sees that she came back for him. And I was like, oh, Joel, she loves you, buddy. And then she's like, she's holding his hand and he squeezes it. And then she sees the wound and she starts sewing it back up. And I do not do good with blood and like insides and stuff. So the whole time I was like, I'm not happy. And my wife was like, come on, man up. And I was like, you man up. I can see his insides. So she starts sewing it up and he's in pain, which my wife works at a hospital and I'm like, wouldn't he just be numb from the cold and like the shock of it all? And she's like, no. She's like, that's not how it works. And I was like, okay, I don't know. I've never been stabbed before. She's like, well, she's like, neither have I, but I can tell you right now it hurts. Especially when you get little ones in there. She's anyways. So she starts sewing him up, and I can't tell if he's passed out or not. My wife was like, oh, he probably passed out from the pain, but I was like, maybe. And then that's where the episode ends. And which wasn't the best ending in my opinion. But I go back to what David had said, what I had mentioned before, that this was just I don't know. I feel like, and you can tell me if I'm being ridiculous, but I feel like I was sold a bag of goods that what it didn't turn out to be what I was sold. You know, I was sold that this was going to be, you know, the zombies, but the infected run all over the place and just, you know, shoot them up with fungus people. And it wasn't like it's not like that. And I'm not saying that the show is terrible. Like this didn't put me off in terms of like the episode. I don't hate this episode. I want more, and it's not giving me more. It's selling me on. It's like it's like the apocalypse love stories, except for what were the brothers' names? Billy, no, because that's Frank and Bill. I can't remember the two brothers' names. Sorry, but we just have these little not these little novelettes and I'm like, can I just see Joel shoot a bunch of infected people like in episode 5? Just that 5 minute, what was that, 5 minutes of those zombies coming out of that like hole and just and everything. Can we just get another episode of that? Which we better. I'm gonna be mad. And I just go, don't tell me, by the way, in the comments section. I don't want to be spoiled on the ending, but where could this possibly go? What, she goes to the thing and they find a cure? That's not fun. I mean, I know they don't because the second game is going to be season 2, from what I understand. And I'm all like, you know, that's fine. And there's a big baddie in that one. It's a woman. I already know that too, that the big baddie in that one's a woman. But I just, the whole time I'm just like, where could this possibly go? I just don't understand. Do they not make it to the science lab where they can make the cure? You know, it's just, I have a lot of questions, and a small piece of me wonders if they're going to be answered, and if I'm even going to like the answer. But yeah, that's my whole thing. But this episode, I would say it's not my least favorite episode. It's probably episode 4. But it's not my favorite episode because it's not episode 5. But yeah, so tell me, what did you guys think about this episode? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What was your favorite part? Who's your favorite character? I like Joel. He's pretty cool. But yeah, tell me what you guys think. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. You know, I won't mind. If you're my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys next week on my Last of Us breakdown and review. You guys have a good week. Bye.